Now on 4, take your place paddock side as Derek Thompson holds the reins of Channel 4 Racing.
It's a classic doubleheader here on Channel 4 Racing as we bring you exclusive coverage of not one but two St Ledgers. For the first time ever, Scotland plays host to a classic, with last week's St Leger, which is postponed from Doncaster, now being staged here at Ayr, and from the Curragh, the Irish St Leger, with British horses trying to make it a clean sweep of the Irish Classics this year. Hello, well, it may be the world's oldest classic, but this is a brand new sign at what is a brand new venue. Yes, we're here at Ayr on the west coast of Scotland for the world's oldest classic. 1 mile and 6 furlongs is the trip, which means it starts here. At the 2 furlong marker, the runners will go down past the post and then come round with a complete circuit in front of them. And looking down from here, the stands are packed to capacity. The roads have been chock-a-block here for the past 2 hours, and we've got over 20,000 people here at Ayr this afternoon. Well, we've had plenty of rain this week, but they've got virgin ground on the bends because they've moved the running rails in by 9 feet on the bends, which means the going is officially soft with heavy patches. And we get underway with the Philip Corns Nickel Alloy handicap. That's over 7 furlongs. At 3:20, live from the Curragh, the Jefferson Smurfit Irish St Leger. Then it's back here to Ayr for the 213th running of the St Leger. 8 runners over 1 mile and 3/4, chasing a first prize of £170,000. Michelozzo is the favourite, and with Henry Cecil the trainer and Steve Cawthon wearing the famous black and white silks of owner Charles St George, he'll have plenty of support. 24 go to post for the £20,000 Ladbrokes Ayrshire handicap at 4:15, and we finish with the Top Flight Nursery over 5 furlongs.
Persistent racecourse rumours that Terrimon worked sluggishly on the course this morning is fuelling the furore for a classic steamer in Michelozzo. Now, all the top of the head, the 9 to 4's gone, the 2 to 1, the 7 to 4 went. Early bird punters had £2,000 bets to win 3,500 at least twice. Is now 6 to 4 against Michelozzo. Now, with 8 runners, 1 or 2 each way backers are looking around for Sapience. But there's a very strong feeling here with those in the know that Michelozzo is going to be the 32nd favourite to win the Leger this century, the 5th in the last 8 years. The vibes are steaming for Michelozzo, but rattling for Terrimon.
We've had a couple of races here already this afternoon, and we'll be showing you both those finishes a little later. And then we'll be putting on yet another competition. It's a couple of anagrams to test your spelling this time, but don't miss it, because there's a really splendid prize, a weekend for 2 in Paris to watch the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe in real luxury. Now then, drainage and the drainage of racecourses is very much the topic of the moment, and John Frankham will be talking to one of the leading experts on the subject, John Souter, the man, in fact, who was called in to investigate the subsidence of Doncaster, to which, after all, Scotland owes its first ever classic, the St Leger, this afternoon.
Now I can speak.
So, plenty to look forward to in the next 2 hours here on Channel 4. As you can see, the runners are down at the start for our first live action. The Philip Corns Nickel Alloys handicap. The trip is 7 furlongs. It looks a very competitive affair. Before we take a closer look at the runners, let's call in John Tyrrell with news on how they bet. JT.
And Etoit is the 5 to 1 favourite from 6 to 1. And Oriental Splendour is 6 to 1, open up at 9 to 2. That one slightly on the drift. Be My Runner is 13 to 2, opened at 9 to 2. And Classic Sweet is 7 to 1 from 8 to 1. Sharp Thistle an 8 to 1 chance. As It Happens is 10 to 1 from 8s, and Access of Hornchurch 11 to 1 from 10 to 1. Phoebe Merrill a 14 to 1 chance, opened at 11 to 1. And Bescovy Boy also on the 14 to 1 mark, this time from 12s. There goes 16 to 1 Bardos.
They're filing round behind the stall, so let's get the expert comments of our 2 paddock commentators this afternoon, Jim McGrath and John Frankham. Gentlemen.
Well, a brain teaser to get the afternoon off to a start for us. And number 6, Be My Runner, one of the horses that is or has some recent form to his credit. He, in fact, gained the first win of his career. That was his 13th appearance when he won at Sandown last time out, winning a maiden race, no less, but quite a good one. Only 5 ran by 3 lengths from Sky Cloud, with a hot pot of Luca Kumani's back in 3rd. John, prior to that, he'd run rather in and out, you'd have to say, but he has got form on soft ground, so you couldn't rule him out here.
No, certainly he wasn't winning out of turn either. He'd run a good race behind Frequent Flyer at Sandown previous to that, so he obviously gets the 7 furlongs really well, which is what we'll be looking for. And well, we know that John Sutcliffe's horses are running in great shape at the moment, so that one, Be My Runner, certainly there with a chance.
Michael Wigham, who's been associated with quite a few of John's successes this season.
And he seems to keep on improving, Michael Wigham. The more winners he's been riding, the more confidence he's had. And I'm surprised he doesn't get more outside rides than he does, Michael Wigham.
Number 9 is Sharp Thistle, a horse who took quite a keen hold on the way down. This is a filly by Sharpo. She's been running creditably on a fast surface for much of the summer, but you'd think actually she's by Sharpo, so giving the ground might suit her a little bit better. She in fact ran 3rd to Gold Seam in what looked beforehand a competitive handicap at Newmarket at the end of August, but in fact was a rout for Gold Seam. So in the circumstances, John, she wasn't disgraced. No,
she was getting a fair bit of weight there. But she's certainly a nice filly, obviously a little bit excitable. She came out before all of the others and went down to post quite quietly in actual fact in the end. And Alan Mackay just doing a good job on her.
14 going in there, Coraki, trained by Jamie Douglas-Hume. This horse has got a bit of form, but run over 7 furlongs only once and didn't run very well, but it was on hard ground on that occasion.
And they break away with on the outside Karaki and Phoebe Merrill up with the pace early on. Phoebe Merrill and Karaki the first two to go in front. Song of Hope in the blue jacket 3rd. Then Habita on the outside is 4, and behind that one is Bescaby Boy showing in 5th place, a gap of a couple of lengths to Etoit, and behind that one Oriental Splendor racing in green. As it happens, follows up, one down, and they continue at a fair lick down the far side of the track. The back marker is Sharp Thistle, finding the pace too strong. Phoebe Merrill in the yellow cap comes through to take up the running. Phoebe Merrill in the lead with Karaki on the outside. Then just in behind these comes Song of Hope. These are followed down by Habito in the black cap as they start the turn in. Bescaby Boy follows up, then Etoit. And behind these comes Access of Hornchurch, finding the pace a bit hot, but pulled to the outside, following through Oriental Splendor as they come down the centre of the track. And on the outside, it's Karaki that's come through to take it up, and Karaki goes on. Phoebe Merrill ridden along in 2nd place. Karaki has the pace to go 2 clear, but they've still got 2 furlongs to go from Phoebe Merrill. Classic Sweet is coming with a run as it happens, opens up. Oriental Splendor, don't rule out Be My Runner. They could get a blanket finish here, but it's still Karaki who heads the charge from Oriental Splendor with the green jacket inside the final furlong. And Karaki keeps up the momentum, Etoit and Oriental Splendor. And here comes Be My Runner, finishing fast, having been last. Sharp Thistle inside the final furlong. Karaki to the line. Karaki has it at the post. Karaki is the winner. Be My Runner 2nd. Classic Sweet is 3rd. Then came Etoit 4, followed by Oriental Splendor. Sharp Thistle, Song of Hope as it happens. A beat to Red Rosine. Phoebe Merrill beat to one of the 3. One of those was Firestream, another Bescaby Boy, and another Access of Hornchurch. And so the result of this Philip Corns Nickel Alloys handicap, it's a win for number 14 Karaki, by Mr. B.D. Ziff. Traded Didcot by Jamie Douglas-Hume and ridden by young Samson Wood. 2nd is number 6, Be My Runner, the mount of Michael Wigham. 3rd horse home, number 5, Classic Sweet for Tony Cruz.
Well, a shock start to the afternoon for punters, but I must say, and I'm sure John agrees with me, I'm delighted for Jamie Douglas-Hume, who's only a small string of horses and who lost one of his old stalwarts, Loch Tillam, a couple of weeks ago at Sandown. This is a welcome win for Jamie and his team. And once Karaki had sprinted to the front early in the straight, John, the race seemed his. Absolutely.
Never even looked like stopping for a moment. Steve Wood there sitting really quietly, sitting very neatly, and come right down the centre of the course there. This horse was always up there in the firing line. And Steve just started to catch hold of him hands and heels at this point, and it looked just for a moment that maybe there were 1 or 2 there. Certainly Oriental Splendor with a white face on this side I thought might have just come and given Karaki a race of it, but as the camera angle changes and Karaki changes legs, he certainly wasn't going to stop then, and it was left to Be My Runner, who came up on this side with a fairly good run in the closing stages, just to take 2nd place. in front of Classic Suite over on the far side. I think Classic Suite just got up there for 3rd place.
Be My Runner closing, but the line comes in time for him, and as John said, Classic Suite just holds on by a length, so for 3rd.
Closing, as you said, Jim, but not fast enough for many backers. That Karaki has returned double carpet, 33 to 1, and on the tote it pays 77.5 to 1 on the tote. 33, double carpet Karaki. The second, Be My Runner, 13 to 2, and the third, Classic Suite, also returned at 13 to 2. Etoile was the 5 to 1 favourite, but that Karaki was the joint complete outsider of the lot, along with Fast Dream at double carpet.
First, number 14, Karaki at 33 to 1. Second, number 6, Be My Runner, 13 to 2. And third, number 5, Classic Suite, also at 13 to 2. Number 4, Etoile was the 5 to 1 favourite. The tip returns win £78.60, places 13.80, 2.50 and 1.60. The dual forecast came to £261.70 and 14 rand.
A lovely start for Jamie Douglas-Hume. Well done him. That is his first winner of the season. I sincerely hope that his father, William Douglas-Hume, the very well-known playwright and notorious punter, I hope that he was on at double carpet. And well done, Jamie, anyway. Now then, proceedings started here at 2 o'clock with the Brodick Claiming Stakes, one of those contests in which owners and trainers can fix the weight their horse has to carry by deciding how much they'll let him go for. Barry Hills, who tomorrow is staging a tremendous open day at Manton near Marlborough. John Frankham and several other famous jockeys are riding in a race there. Barry had put £50,000 on Mr. Robert Sangster's Sudden Victory. That, of course, meant top weight, 9 stone 10, but that didn't stop Sudden Victory starting a very hot favourite.
Sudden Victory, the 7 to 2 on favourite. Corn Lily 8 to 1, Basana 12 to 1, and Mark Hazelwood at 16s. Barflyer 66 to 1 chance, Damout and Nightborn both at 100 to 1.
So Sudden Victory has come through to take up the running from Corn Lily as they come past the 3 furlong marker, and Sudden Victory pulling away now from Corn Lily in second place. Persana is starting to stay on and should certainly get a place, but they race down towards the 2, and Sudden Victory has pulled a long way clear of Corn Lily. Persana is staying on well on the right of the picture in the green and red. They've got a furlong and a half to go behind these. Mark Hazelwood in the blue blinker starts to pick up good ground. Sudden Victory has it though, and clear by some 6 to 8 lengths to a hard-ridden Mark Hazelwood, who's making ground on Sudden Victory as they come inside the final furlong. And the jockey on Sudden Victory looks round and he sees Mark Hazelwood closing with every stride, but the post will come in time and Sudden Victory will win. And at the line, Sudden Victory is the winner, Mark Hazelwood second, Persana is third.
Nobody offered to pay £50,000 for the winner, and in fact there were no claims after that race. Before it, in fact, there'd been a rather unhappy episode when Kieran Fallon, who's going to have his first ride in a classic later on, was unable to work the brakes on Evich Star and did an unrehearsed circuit of the track. So Evich Star was taken out. Now here's the rather reduced starting price.
1 Sudden Victory, the 7 to 2 on favourite. 4 Mark Hazelwood at 16 to 1, and 8 Basana at 12 to 1. Non-runner was number 3 and 7 rand.
Now then, I suppose this may be the first time a classic race day has ever begun with a claiming race followed by a selling race, but of course the Air programme was designed long before Doncaster's misfortunes. The Full Circle Owners Group, the highly successful Full Circle Owners Group, sponsored the selling race and in fact had its own candidate with By Choice, ridden by Kim Tinkler, but the favourite on the strength of a good run at Hamilton was Mick Easterby's Gushy, and this is how they bet on the others.
Gushy, the 6 to 5 favourite. Ovaleski 3 to 1. Bill had a 7 to 1 chance, and By Choice at 8s. Fearless Native is 14 to 1. Pan Song 33s, and Arundel the outsider at 50 to 1.
Pansong in the lead with the orange nose band, and on the inside of him, Arundel coming there strongly is Obeliski with a big white nose band, the favourite Gushy in behind those two. Then Bill Head with Fearless Native making good ground on the far side, and Obeliski is the one that commits and goes for home down to the 2 furlong marker. And Obeliski with a big white nose band in the lead from Pansong in second. Gushy is hard ridden but staying on. Still a furlong and a half to go. Don't rule out Fearless Native on the right of the picture. Still just down to the final furlong. Obeliski and Fearless Native putting in a big challenge. Gushy looks held in third. They come inside the final furlong, and Obeliski going on now from Fearless Native, wandering about on this tiring ground. But Obeliski has it clear by 3 or 4. Up towards the line, Obeliski's going to win it up the line. Obeliski is the winner. Fearless Native second, Gushy is third.
And the starting prices for Obeliski returned at 3 to 1. Second, number 2, Fearless Native at 14 to 1. And third, number 3, Gushy, the 6 to 5 favourite, and 8 run.
In a few moments, we'll be going live to the Curragh for the Irish St. Leger. But first, by way of a bonus for you, there were a couple of British runners in the 2:45 race at the Curragh this afternoon, which was the Salora Round Tower Stakes over 5 furlongs, a listed race. Among the 8 runners was Sir Arthur Hobbs from Franny Lee's Cheshire Stable, and Darby, trained by Alex Scott at Newmarket, the mount of Walter Swinburne. Let's see the closing stages with commentator Tony O'Hare.
Racing down now towards the 2 furlong marker, Neat Dish on the rails from Tanwy towards the centre between horses in the dark and yellow colours. That's Sir Arthur Hobbs under pressure. Wedding Bouquet makes ground now on the outside. 4, 5, 10 Doretta. Darby has dropped out. They're racing towards the final furlong, and it's Tanwy tackled by Wedding Bouquet on the outside. Sir Arthur Hobbs on the near side inside the final furlong now, and Wedding Bouquet over on the far side quickens to the front from Sir Arthur Hobbs and Tanwy. Homo Sassa's running on just in behind them, but Wedding Bouquet has the speed as they go to the line. Wedding Bouquet by about a length and a half. Tanwy second, close for third between Sir Arthur Hobbs and Homo Sassa. Ring of Light is next, then Neat Dish, and Tenderetta beats One Home, and that's one of the English Raiders.
And the winner, number 4, Wedding Bouquet, returned the even money favourite. Second, number 8, Tanwy at 5 to 1. And third, number 1, Sir Arthur Hobbs at 8 to 1, an 8 run.
So a good win there for Wedding Bouquet, trained by Vincent O'Brien and ridden by John Reid. Sir Arthur Hobbs, the one British runner, was third. The other one, Darby, finished last. But now the big race in Ireland, the Jefferson Smurfit's Irish St. Leger, where we've got 10 runners, over a mile and 3/4. And here Sheikh Mohammed is trying to make his own piece of history, because he's aiming to become the first owner to win all 5 classics, Irish classics, in the same season. And he's got 2 runners who'll be wearing his maroon and white silks. They are Lazaz and Upper Strata. Let's now take a check on the full list. Well, number 1 is Darcom. That's the mount of John Reid, currently quoted at 6 to 1, trained by Alex Stewart. Number 2 is Lazaz, also 6 to 1, ridden by Walter Swinburne, trained by Michael Stout. 3 is Madam Fair, a 66 to 1 outsider. Stephen Crane rides this. Number 4 is Sesame from David Morley's Newmarket Yard, currently priced 12 to 1. Christy Roach rides. 5 is Upper Strata, trained by Luca Cumani, ridden by Declan Gillespie, 8 to 1 his price at the moment. Number 6 is Beyond the Lake, trained by Dermot Weld. Ray Carroll rides this. It's a 20 to 1 shot. Number 7, Horn Dance, is a non-runner because of the soft testing ground over there. It's yielding to soft officially. Number 8 is Phantom Breeze. Dermot Weld trains this. Michael Kinnan rides, currently quoted 4 to 1, strongly fancied. Number 9 is Tyrone Bridge. Kevin Prendergast trains this. David Parnell rides, currently quoted at 8 to 1. Then we've got the favourite, number 10, Petit Eel, 3 to 1 favourite at the moment, ridden by Ron Quinton, the Australian. John Ox trains, and number 11, Smena Mia, trained by Jim Bolger, ridden by Willie Supple, currently quoted at 20 to 1. So those are the 10 runners for this Irish St. Leger, the Jefferson Smurfit Irish St. Leger. There's a first prize of £105,000 over there, and 2 St. Legers coming up in the next 20 minutes. They're down at the start, so let's go live and join the commentators of Irish television.
And I'm sure he'll do very well then.
So the loading of these 10 runners beginning.
Yeah, put it on.
Petit Deal is the favourite, and here she is under Ron Quinton. Petit Deal, a daughter of Ile de Bourbon, and she's been a real good mare. She's improved with every run this season. She was only narrowly beaten into 3rd place in Our Oaks here, and she then went to York, and she finished a very, very close 3rd behind Roseate Turn. And I'm sure that English viewers who are looking in will view her with great interest, because, of course, in less than half an hour, the Doncaster St. Leger that was, the Ayr St. Leger, is going to be run, and Roseate Turn is one of the big fancies in that race. John Ox, successful with Eurobird in this race before, also ridden by Ron Quinton. And I think that Petty Deal, she's a worthy favourite, but she's slightly one-paced. And I think that if anything's got a little bit of foot behind her, she could finish in the place money again.
One that represents Group 1 class in this race, and she's, as you say, Robert, entitled to be favourite.
So
most of the runners are nearly in at this stage, just waiting on a couple at the back to come up.
Maiden Fair. Maiden Fair being loaded into stall number 11, and I think that's just about it. The white flag raised, we can join Tony O'Hare.
Still at the back is Lazaz, the mount of Walter Swinburne. The hood has been fitted to that one, being led forward now. And Lazaz going in safely, followed up by Sesame, trained by David Morley. Christy Roach in the saddle. Christy, who's won this race twice previously. All in and running in the Jefferson Smurfit Memorial Irish St. Ledger, and Maiden Fair is the early leader on the inside. Maiden Fair from Lazaz and Upper Strata, then Sweenov. Behind Sweenov comes Tyrone Bridge, and they're followed by Phantom Breeze. Behind Phantom Breeze on the inside is Petty Deal. Behind Petty Deal is Sesame, Beyond the Lake Last But One, and in rear is Darkoom, for whom there's been considerable support today. Upper Strata takes them along from Lazaz in second. The Sheikh Mohammed pair 1-2 at this stage from Maiden Fair in third. Tyrone Bridge is 4, and then 5 Phantom Breeze, 6 Sweenov, and 7 is Petty Deal. They're followed by Beyond the Lake. Alongside Beyond the Lake is Sesame, and Darkoom towards the outside. Stretching down the far side of the Curragh, they're heading towards the 10 furlong marker now, and Upper Strata leads by a length and a half from Lazaz in second. They're about 4 lengths clear of Maiden Fair. Tyrone Bridge on the outside in 4. A gap of 2 then to Phantom Breeze. Behind Phantom Breeze comes Petty Deal on the outside of Sweenov. Behind Sweenov Beyond the Lake, and then Sesame and Darkoom, runner-up in this event last year, the back marker of the 10. Beginning to turn now. The far point of the course, they're coming up towards the mile marker, and Upper Strata is the leader by just under 2 lengths from Lazaz in second. Maiden Fair is third. Tyrone Bridge is fourth. Behind Tyrone Bridge on the outside is Phantom Breeze. Sweenov is next, then Sesame and Darkoom, and then Petty Deal, and behind Petty Deal is Beyond the Lake. The field beginning to bunch up as they pass the halfway stage. Upper Strata in the lead by over a length from Lazaz in second. Maiden Fair is third. Tyrone Bridge is fourth. Behind Tyrone Bridge is Phantom Breeze, then Sweenov. Behind Sweenov comes Sesame. Then towards the outside, Darkoom. Petty Deal is last but one at this stage, with only Beyond the Lake behind her as they pass the 6 marker. Upper Strata, the leader from Lazaz in second. 3 Maiden Fair, 4 Tyrone Bridge, then Phantom Breeze. On the inside of Phantom Breeze comes Sweenov, then Petty Deal just in behind these with Darkoom and Sesame, and at the back Beyond the Lake as they run downhill towards the half-mile marker, and it's Upper Strata from Lazaz on the outside. Just behind these Maiden Fair with Tyrone Bridge in the noseband. Just in behind these in fifth Phantom Breeze. Behind Phantom Breeze Sesame, and then comes Sweenov as they swing towards the straight with almost 3 furlongs to cover. Upper Strata from Lazaz, 2 lengths into Tyrone Bridge. Phantom Breeze is 4. Petty Deal making ground and gone fifth as they swing for home under 3 furlongs to race. Lazaz tackles Upper Strata. Tyrone Bridge in the blue colours, then a gap to Phantom Breeze. Petty Deal still making steady progress on the outside. Sesame behind these, and then Beyond the Lake. They're racing down now towards the final furlong and a half, and Tyrone Bridge comes to challenge on the far side. Lazaz on the near side. Petty Deal, Phantom Breeze in behind them in 4, and then Upper Strata, but it's Tyrone Bridge the leader on the near side. Petty Deal, and they're followed by Lazaz as they race into the closing stages. Petty Deal on the near side. On the far side, Tyrone Bridge is going to be very close between them as they race towards the finish. Petty Deal on the near side, Tyrone Bridge on the far side, neck and neck as they flash across the line. Possibly just Tyrone Bridge from Petty Deal. Lazaz 3, Upper Strata 4, 5 Sesame, 6 is Phantom Breeze, and behind Phantom Breeze Beyond the Lake, and then a gap to Maiden Fair, Darkoom, and finally Sweenov. So a thrilling climax to the Jefferson Smurfit Memorial Irish St. Ledger. Petty Deal travelling so sweetly from the time they turned in, coming there to challenge Tyrone Bridge. Is desperately close. My first reaction is that Tyrone Bridge may just have shed, that we will get another chance now to review the closing stages to a really thrilling Irish St. Ledger. There's one of the principals, Tyrone Bridge, owned by Paul Green, in the blue colours, the horse with the noseband, and on the right in the dark colours, Petty Deal. It's between them as they race well inside the last furlong. Lazaz, though, still just in front of this stage.
Lazaz has just gone on from Upper Strat, and now David Parnell launches his challenge and up on Kevin Prendergast's horse here, Tyrone Bridge, and he really battles well. But look, on his outside comes Ron Quinton on the favourite Petty Deal, and she throws down a marvellous challenge. I thought for a few moments she was going to get up, but Tyrone Bridge has been a very game horse. He's answered every call from David Parnell. I think he's just stuck his head out just long enough to hold Petty Deal. Petty Deal is gaining with every stride here. Tyrone Bridge is full stretch here, answering every call for David Parnell. So is Petty Deal, but just on the line, it's very, very close at this stage. It's very close. I would hate to say Tony is probably in a better position, and he thinks Tyrone Bridge won, and if that's it, well, I'll row along with him, but it's very close. On the steer side is Petty Deal. From our vantage point here, I think the Tyrone Bridge has just held Petty Deal, but Lazaz back in third place. But it's very, very...
Well, I've never known Tony O'Hare call the wrong horse yet in the photo finish. He thinks Tyrone Bridge has held on. Let's have one more look at it, though, because it's very, very close indeed over in Ireland. Between on the far side, Tyrone Bridge. It's got that sheepskin noseband. That may just look as if its nose is in front. And on this side, Petty Deal, who was given a super ride by Ron Quinton. Very, very close indeed. It's a photo to the Irish St. Leger. If our St. Leger is as close as that, we're in for a good race. The horses are just beginning to come into the paddock. Let's get betting news now on the big race from John McCrick.
Just looking at the Irish St. Leger up in the press box, they're all betting on who's won the photo, and they just don't know. And one hack said take 2 to 1 each of 2. That'll take some time, I think, to decipher. But of course, there's a good tip for Roseate Turn, the good run of Petty Deal, but it's not stopping it drifting here on the course. 5 to 2. Some bookmakers calling 3, but 11 to 4. The general price Roseate Turn. Very weak is Terramon. The rumours of that bad workout this morning have gone round the course. 7 to 2. Some are going 4, but Michelozzo, the day steamer, 13 to 8 favourite, really well backed against the other 2, is 10 to 1, bar the 3.
Just looking back on that Irish St. Leger for a second, it's interesting that 12 months ago, Melodist and Diminuendo dead heated in that race, and I wonder if we could have another dead heat. That was in the Irish Oaks, of course. But looking back at the form here on Roseate Turn, who is running here in the St. Leger, Roseate Turn beat Petty Deal last time out in the Yorkshire Oaks. So the form of that race looks solid, and that's certainly given a boost to the chances of Roseate Turn in the St. Leger. We're going to take a short break. Rejoin us shortly for the world's oldest classic.
Guess who just picked up £100 off their holiday? Pop into Pickford's Travel for up to £100 off.
Has this ever happened to you? What a mess. How about this? It doesn't wear as well as it tastes. That dress shirt and expensive silk blouse have had it, or have they? Now there's a way to deal with the most difficult stains quickly, safely and thoroughly. DD7. DD7 is a super concentrated formula that removes stains and is kinder to fabrics. Now where's the ink? Even this delicate silk blouse comes incredibly clean. And that's not all. Tar, iodine, blood, rust. DD7 gets rid of them all. Are your net curtains dull and grey? A quick soak in diluted DD7 restores them to a like-new white. DD7 is a whiz on carpets, even upholstery. Think of the money you'll save. We've stained these hands with ink, iodine and car grease. Just watch. DD7 and a little water instantly removes the stain, even from under the fingernails. And there's more. Imagine this is your washing machine. A red sock gets in with the whites. Everything turns pink. Ink from a broken marker pen. Even iodine. A little multi-purpose DD7 in the final rinse, and it's goodbye to all those awkward stains forever. Order your tube of DD7 today for just £8.95, or we'll double your order for only £3 more. That's 2 tubes for only £11.95. Enough to replace all of these cleaners at a fraction of the price. If DD7 doesn't work this quickly and easily for you, simply return the unused portion for a refund. For holders of these credit cards, call Aberdeen 634141. That's Aberdeen 634141. Or make your cheque or postal order for £8.95 for 1 tube or £11.95 for 2 tubes, payable to DD7, and send it to us at DD7 at Mail 68, Plymouth PL1 1AD. And remember, if lines are busy, call later, but do call.
Things are going crazy down at Wimpy. Buy a quarter pounder with cheese and a medium fizzy drink, and you get your chips free. You have to take your hat off to them. For free chips, come on over till the end of the month.
Still no news from Ireland on that photo finish to the Irish St. Leger. We'll bring you that just as soon as the judge calls it. In fact, here it comes. And it's a win for number 10, Petite Eel. Number 10, Petite Eel has got up to win the Irish St. Leger, the 3-to-1 favourite, from Tyrone Bridge in second, with Lazaz in third. There's confirmation, 10, Petite Eel, 3-to-1 favourite, 9, Tyrone Bridge, 8-to-1. And number 2, Lazaz, the best of the English challengers from Michael Stout Stable, was third. The non-runner was number 7, and 10 ran. That brings you right up to date. Now, let's concentrate on the big race of the day. Massive crowd here. 20,000. They've never staged a classic race north of the border. And although for some it might seem strange to see the St. Leger being held away from Doncaster, there's no doubt the Scots have bent over backwards to stage this race and also play host to visitors who've come literally from all over the world. So the seconds tick away to the 213th running of the world's oldest classic. This is the St. Leger. Let's now take a check on the runners and riders from our race commentator, Graham Good.
And they're headed by number 1, Alpha Bell, ridden by Tony Cruz, flown in specially to ride this horse. Number 2, Blazing Touches Blinker, ridden by Michael Hills. Number 3, the big gamble of the race then, Michelozzo, ridden by Steve Cawthon. 4, NCO and Frankie Dettori. 5, Sapience, Kieran Fallon. 6, Ski Surf, ridden by John Lowe, pacemaker, wearing a red cap. Number 7, Terrimon, Mark Birch. And number 8, the Blinkered Rosier Turn, ridden by Willie Carson. An 8-runner lineup for this Group 1, 213th St. Leger. Let's check the odds on offer.
Michelozzo, the 13-to-8 favourite. Rosier Turn is 11-4 from 3-to-1. Terrimon steady at 7-2. And NCO in 11-1 from 10-1. And Rosier Turn has just gone to 5-2. Continuing the show, Alpha Bell is now 14-1 from 12s. And Sapience on the 12-1 spot. Blazing Touch a 200-1 chance, and Ski Surf the extreme outsider on 500-1, all quoted for the St. Leger Stakes.
Well, Nashwan declined the chance to try and win the Triple Crown, but his trainer, Major Dick Hearn, is aiming to win his 7th St. Leger and his 3rd with a filly. And number 8, Rosier Turn, is his representative this time. She finished 3rd in the Oaks at Epsom. She got off the mark in the Lancashire Oaks at Haydock. And Willie Carson, who's in the saddle again today, brought her with her customary late run in the Yorkshire Oaks at York last time out.
Rosier Turn pulled wide, and it's Lady Shipley with the call from Petite Eel. Alidar Esther Gray bravely now under Steve Cawthon is finding pace and momentum, but Rosier Turn is keeping with her on the outside. A cracking race inside the final furlong, and Rosier Turn in the red with the white cap is the leader. From Petite Eel in second, Alidar Esther is beaten. Rosier Turn has it. Willie Carson punches her home. Rosier Turn easily from Alidar Esther.
The best display in Rosier Turn's career so far. As Derek told you earlier, she got off the mark in the Lancashire Oaks at Haydock by half a length from Lucky Song, and she finished second in the Oaks to Elisa, of course. She's clearly a very good filly, and on form, John, she's got the best form of these bar Terryman.
Certainly, she looks to be a filly who's improving as well. She's been a remarkable servant to Lord Carnarvon, who owns her, and at the end of this season, she is going off to the sales.
Well, the main problem about quite a number of these horses this afternoon, as we've had all week at Ayr, is whether they'll act on the ground. Willie Carson's a highly experienced jockey with many classic successes under his belt, and I asked him before racing whether he felt that, granted her form being so far on fast or good ground, whether she'd cope with conditions this afternoon.
Well, she goes very well on the firm ground. In fact, the other morning when I rode her, we went on our grass gallets for the first time for a long time, and it felt a little bit too firm for her that day. It's very soft, isn't it, here? Who knows? Who knows? She's by Blakeney, and Blakeney's normally like the soft ground, so I've got that in my favour.
And Willie, you said at York, after she won the Yorkshire Oaks, that you felt that in the past she'd been a little bit quirky, but she'd grown up since then. In her work at home, do you still get that impression?
No, at home she's still very laid back. Very laid back. She needs a bomb behind her, you know, wake her up. She's a very relaxed filly. and hopefully it all depends on this ground. It's whichever horse handles the ground. She's got the ability to win the race or go very close, but it's whether she handles the ground.
And there's the favourite, number 3, Michelozzo, just going through. And the next one to go through will be NCO and Frankie Dettori, apprentice, having his first ride, as too is Kieran Fallon in the red jacket there. Sapiens, number 5, his mount. Now the pacemaker should be seeing a lot of this one, certainly on the through the first mile. Number 6, Ski Surf, John Lowe rides. And the pacemaker 4, number 7, Terrymon in the brown with the green crossbelts, green cap, Mark Birch, the jockey. And the race, this Group 1 race, there will be a parade for this race on their way down to the start, and last in the parade will be number 8, Roseate Turn, and a very, very happy Willie Castle.
Well, our executive deserve congratulations for the way they've put everything into organising this St Leger. It's been a great week up here, despite some awful weather, and it's good to see the Scottish supporters, John, have really supported the day out by turning up in their thousands.
Yeah, there's a massive crowd, and just as you speak, the sun comes out for only the second time in 4 days that we've been here. And these 2 greys have been on parade all over, or throughout the 4 days. And, well, as they lead the runners out onto the course for the parade, let's have a look at the betting.
Michelozzo, the 13-8 favourite. Roseate Turn, 5-2. Terrymon, a 7-2 chance. And NCO now to 12-1, open up at 10s. Also on the 12-1 spot is Sapiens. And Alpha Bell is 14-1 from 12s. Blazing Touch, 200-1. And Ski Surf, the outsider, 500-1.
Well, the favourite is Michelozzo, a colt having just the 4th run of his career. He's by Northern Baby, out of a mare by Luthier, and his dam, who won over 1 1/4 at 4 years in France, is a half-sister to the French St Leger winner that Henry Cecil also trained, El Quit. Michelozzo, I saw him win over 1 mile at Nottingham back in the spring, and I was very, very impressed with him. He didn't beat a lot, but he did it in tremendous style, despite looking green. John, we've seen him in more strongly contested races since then, finishing 3rd at Newmarket to Asatis, and then winning a good class race, the March Stakes at Goodwood. He steps up in class. How much do you think he'll improve?
Well, we won't know until he actually gets on the course and starts performing, but the thing about Michelozzo is that I would say almost certainly he's got a lot more speed than anything else in the race, providing that and he's also, although when he won over 1 mile it was in the heavy ground, so presumably he does act in it. And he's a relatively fresh horse, he's relatively inexperienced, only having his 4th run of his life. But he's certainly a horse who you'd say is improving. His form, I don't think, is anything like that of Roseate Turn.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But a lot of people fancy him. Apparently he's been working very well at home. However, had the race taken place last Saturday, there's a serious doubt as to whether he'd been able to have taken part, because apparently he suffered some sort of foot injury on the way up to Doncaster. So I spoke to Steve Cawthon before racing and asked him to tell us exactly what had gone wrong.
I think travelling up on the horse box, you know, he danced around, spread a plate, and then nail obviously, you know, went up in his foot a bit. But, you know, I think it was mostly superficial. They immediately got a poultice on it, and I don't think it really has caused him really any great inconvenience, and I think he's okay.
And Steve, almost every other horse in the race is an if, will it go on the ground? But you're pretty sure that yours will, aren't you?
Well, he definitely, first time out, you know, the ground was very boggy at Nottingham when he won 10 lengths, and I mean, he skated through it like a duck on water. So, you know, I'm sure actually he'll handle the ground. And he's won over 1 mile and 6 at Goodwood last time out, so he seems to get the trip. I know it's going to take a bit of getting today in this ground, but you know, he's got the right credentials as far as that goes. The fact is, he's only ever really run in a real class race once, which was against the Saddis and Carroll House. Well, the form of that race has worked out very well, so I'm going into the race with every hope.
Well, the thing about the ground this afternoon is that throughout the morning it's been drying out, and it's going to be an awful lot stickier here this afternoon, and certainly make conditions far more testing than it's been over the last few days when we've been having the odd drop of rain to keep the ground wet, which obviously makes it easier for the horses to gallop through. They're hacking off down to the 5.5 or the 5 furlong marker there just before turning round. And the 2 Lady Beaverbrook runners there Terrymon and his pacemaker ski surf, first 2 to turn in.
Well, Terrymon, if you started the season and watching him, you'd be amazed if you were thinking, or someone told you that in 2 or 3 months or later on, he would in fact A, finish second in the Derby, and B, be starting here as one of the favourites for the St Leger, because he actually got beaten off a handicap mark in the low 80s in a 7-furlong handicap at Doncaster. But he's made great strides since being tried over middle distances, as well as finishing second in the Derby to Nashwan. He finished second here in the Great Voltager Stakes. Now, John, Clive Britton said that he felt the horse blew up here. He's second to Zalazl, having every chance from now on. Do you feel that was the case, or maybe a much stronger pace that he had in the Derby? Because he was clearly below his Derby form here. That was the reason for his defeat.
I think the 2 factors here were that in the early part of this race, Terrymon certainly didn't settle, which is why they've got a pacemaker for him today. They went no gallop, and certainly the strong gallop, which is obviously what they had in the Derby, when he was doing all of his best work at the end, is what this horse wants. He's by Bustino. I'll be very surprised if he doesn't love the ground. Incidentally, one other horse in the race, NCO, is also by Bustino. And, well, Terrymon, I think he's been crying out for this trip. I think he's been waiting for the ground. And he's certainly my idea of the horse that they've all got to beat. Although it's a fascinating race, even though Cocothis doesn't run, or Lisa, it's certainly not a one-horse race. And I think it's quite fascinating. There is NCO in there. Frankie Dettori having his first ride in a classic. But Luca Kamani's horse is running in great form at the moment. He soon, well, first came to prominence, this horse, in actual fact, when he beat a good horse of, or thought to be a very good horse of Henry Cecil's, called Brush Aside. That was at Newmarket.
After that, he followed up in a minor event at Yarmouth under a stiff penalty. And then he was favourite for the Gordon Stakes at Goodwood. He wasn't disgraced, but he didn't strike me as a top-class horse with his performance there. Creditable though it was, he was third to Warshan, being readily outpaced in the closing stages. Obviously, this is a much different test. The Gordon Stakes, 1.5 miles on top of the ground at Goodwood. This is much softer going and a longer distance.
I just thought that day at Goodwood that maybe he didn't handle the course. He's a horse I've always thought wanted a bit of cut in the ground, and it never looked to come down the hill, or never looked to be too happy coming down the hill.
Well, there's all sorts of spectators down at the start, even 4-legged ones. And doesn't he, or is it a she, look interested? And thankfully he's well behaved, not frightening the horses. There's Junior, presumably with Dad. And a great day out, and a great day for Kieran Fallon, who rides Sapience, trained by Jimmy Fitzgerald. It was only earlier this week that Kieran was confirmed as the jockey on Sapience. Pat Edery took over in the Tote Ebor at York last time out, where Sapience gave the performance of his life to win not unexpectedly, and I believe Jimmy Fitzgerald is very confident that he'll go well today. But John, if the form book means anything, this horse has got to improve upwards of a stone to beat these.
Yes, he looks like he's got an awful lot to do. That was his first run in the Ebor for a couple of months, and prior to that he'd been able to cope with Carlingford at Ascot. Maybe there's something not quite right with him. Maybe the ground had just jarred him up a little bit. Let's hear from John McCririck.
Well, Sapience is a 14-to-1 chance, and only one Ebor winner has ever won the St Leger. That was Warlock in 1856. And the 2 Ebor winners to run in the race since the war prominently, Alignment and By Thunder in 68 and 54, finished 4th. So 4th looks to be the place for Sapience. Now, Rosiat Turn's form has been boosted, as you saw. Behave yourself! Cut off, please. Cut off, please.
Well, it's sorry to see some idiots behaving like that, but we'll concern ourselves with the horses. Alpha Bell going into stall, 2 with Tony Cruz on, is a horse with smart form, but rather like Sapience, John, I doubt him good enough to win this.
No, on his last run at Newbury behind Ibn Bay, certainly looked a little bit one-pace there. Maybe the soft ground will help him bring his stamina into play, but they're nearly all in. That was, and they're just going in. His blazing touch in the colours of the horse we just all got touched off in the Irish St Leger. In fact, this was the partner there in Trevor Painting's colours, very similar. Then one's got the light blue diamond and dark blue colours, and Trevor's partner Paul Green has got the dark blue diamond with light blue colours. And well, let's hope that Trevor's horse runs half as well as Tyrone Bridges. Anyway, blazing touch for ex-French horse. Bought to go hurdling is the last one to go in. The latest bet in, Michelozzo 6-4, Rosie at turn 5-2, Terramon 7-2. It's 12-1 bar the others. Over to you, Gigi.
And Blazing Touch is taking a heave to get him into the stalls. The handlers were expecting a bit of trouble down at the start, and I wouldn't think that Blazing Touch would get the better of them. And certainly being heaved in by the 5 stall handlers. He's in, that's up. They're lined away for the 213th measure. They break away. NCO a little bit slowly into his stride, but Blazing Touch on the outside as the sun shines on air, and it's now Blazing Touch going on from Michelozzo, and pushed up on the inside is the pacemaker Ski Surf. But it's Blazing Touch who's cutting out the running. Ski Surf on the inside is second. Alpha Bella Michelozzo plays third and fourth. Sapience on the outside of Rosier Turn, followed down by NCO and Terry on the back marker as they pass the winning post with a circuit to go, and Ski Surf has command by 3 parts of a length to Blazing Touch. They're 6 clear of Alpha Bell and Michelozzo, and Rosier Turn on the inside of Sapiens. NCO is wide, and Terrimon tucked in behind them, trailing the field as they make their first left-handed turn. And it's Ski Surf leading from, in second place, Blazing Touch, and they begin to swing left-handed into the back straight. They're 8 clear now of Alpha Bell, who's moving well in third. Then Sapiens and Michelozzo and Rosier Turn bunched across the track, followed by Terrimon and NCO. They turn into the back straight, just under 1.25 miles to race now. And it's Ski Surf clear by 3 over Blazing Touch, clear by 6 to Alpha Bell, by a length to Sapiens on the inside of Michelozzo, and then comes Rosier Turn and NCO, and the back marker is Terrimon. So let's check the SPs, the odds of reward as they get halfway in the 213th St. Ledger. The favourite is Michelozzo at 6-4, Rosier Turn at 5-2, Terrimon at 7-2, and 12-1 bar those. And it's the pacemaker Ski Surf going on by clear by 3 over Blazing Touch in second. The gap then is only 3 lengths. Alpha Bell powering and pulling the main majority of the pack through, with Rosier Turn getting a good run through on the inside. Michelozzo is wide of her, but between those two races Sapiens keeping contention on that one. The back marker still Ceremon, with NCO in on the outside of him, and it's Ski Surf setting sail for home, doing a good job of pacemaking. Over 6 furlongs to go in the St. Ledger. Ski Surf has it clear by 3 over Blazing Touch. The gap is then 4 to Alpha Bell, and then 3 line across the track of Michelozzo, Rosier Turn and Sapiens, back to NCO and Terrimon as they begin the sweep out of the back stretch, and Ski Surf still has it to Blazing Touch in second, a gap of 4 lengths to Alpha Bell, then Sapiens and Michelozzo and Rosier Turn and NCO just making a bit of ground on the outside of Terrimon, and they're going to have to motor now. A half a mile left to race in the St. Ledger, and the pacemaker Ski Surf has it as Blazing Touch drops right away. Alpha Bell is pulled wide. Sapiens coming with a run. Michelozzo is on the wide outside of the group, and the pacemaker wisely now drops away, but keeping his position next to the rails as the race opens up down the centre of the track. And it's Rosier Turn and Alpha Bell and Michelozzo, and Sapiens is travelling well, but it's Michelozzo now who's given the office, and with 2 furlongs to go in the white cap, Michelozzo, Sapiens. Terrimon is closing behind these. Making ground is Rosier Turn. A furlong and a half to go. Michelozzo goes 2 clear now of Sapiens and Rosier Turn, and Terrimon under half pressure coming inside the final furlong. And Michelozzo looks to have taken the race. He has done. He's going 4-5 clear. A big race for the places. But it's Michelozzo who storms clear to win the 213th St. Ledger easily at the line. Michelozzo has it. Sapiens a personal best for second. Rosier Turn third. Terrimon finished 4, but beat Blazing Touch at NCO, and Alpha Bell dropped right away, and Ski Surf was last of all. And so the best backed horse in the race on the day has won. The Charles St. George owned number 3 Michelozzo, the 6-4 favourite, trained at Newmarket by Henry Cecil, who was confident about this horse's success, and ridden by Steve Cawthon. So second is number 5 Sapiens. Third horse home is number 8 Rosier Turn. And so Michelozzo coming home here and coming clear of the pack. Steve Cawthon looks over his right, then over his left shoulder, and this son of Northern Baby has landed it. He's done it. Another classic success for the Cawthon and Cecil combination.
Turning for home as Ski Surf drops away, but what a fine race the other pacemaker or front runner Blazing Touch has run, and the protagonists in line. But it's Michelozzo, and John, although he's gone away to win most impressively, he was going no better than the others at this stage.
Now as they turned round into the bend, Steve Cawthon, you can see they're just beginning to pick him up, and they looked half a dozen. I must admit at this stage I thought that Terrimon was going particularly well there, just behind with Mark Birch. But the further they go, this son of Northern Baby, Michelozzo, well, Steve's already given him a crack round the backside. He obviously didn't think that he was going all that well at that stage, because it's unusual for Steve certainly to be getting after one that far out. But the further he's gone, the easier he's been going, and the further he's been putting between himself and the horses following. Sapience has run a blinder, it's got to be said, that in second place is far and away any better than anything he's shown previously. But really, there was only one winner, and, well, he must have won just about as far as Mr. St. George's last Leger winner, Bruni, did.
Michelozzo has landed an almighty gamble, 9-4 this morning, down here on the course from 7-4, returned the 6-4 favourite, a classic steamer, the 32nd favourite to win this century, and the 5th in the last 8 years. The second, Sapience, went off at 15-1, a popular each-way horse, the Ebor winner. And the third, Rosiat Turn, was returned at 5-2. And those rumours about Terriman that swept the course, there must have been something in them. He never showed in the race, 4th at 7-2. But that Michelozzo follows recent favourites like Reference Point and Oh So Sharp Odds On, also, of course, for Cecil and Cawthon. Before that, Comanche run in 84, and a year earlier, that Sun Princess. It's Henry Cecil's 4th St. Leger, Steve Cawthon's 3rd, and it's a tremendous result for the punters. 6-4 favourite, the classic steamer.
And Christine St. George leads Steve Cawthon and Michelozzo, flanked by those two wonderful greys, into the unsaddling enclosure. I'm sure they'll get a great Scottish cheer.
The official time for the fourth race, 3 minutes, 20.72 seconds. 3 minutes, 20.72 seconds.
Well, lovely scenes there, John. But we'd just like to say that Jill Richardson, Charles St. George's racing secretary, who planned to be here, there's Henry Cecil, the trainer, but unfortunately couldn't be. We hope she's watching at home. And Jill, you haven't been too well lately. Hope you soon pick up, and sorry you missed today.
It certainly would have put her in good form, and it's certainly going to hot up the title for the trainers race at the end of the season. This first prize, which is what Henry was looking for. He likes nothing better than to be champion trainer. Got a lot of good prizes to come, certainly put him a lot closer up the top there now. And to win the Leger with the horse having its first run, certainly a good effort.
And a fine effort. Steve Cawthon obviously delighted, but a fine effort also by Kieran Fallon, Jimmy Fitzgerald and Sapience, fully vindicating Jimmy's faith in his horse. But he's quite a bonny colt, this. He's a bit lightly made, John, but he's got a presence about him, hasn't he?
Certainly, and he's got his heart in the right place as well. The further he goes, the better he is. And it'll be interesting to see what he actually goes for now. Well, that was 1.6 miles today, certainly on soft ground, and the way he won in the closing stages. And you'd say if they've gone a good strong gallop, that maybe he'd be capable of winning over just slightly shorter distance.
Well, this is a pretty well-bred horse. He cost $180,000 as a yearling. He's by Northern Baby. And Northern Baby, who was, in fact, although he ran well at 1.5 miles in top-class events, possibly gave his best performance when winning the Champion Stakes. The dam, as I told you earlier, Tres Agréable, is out of a very good French mare called Assez Cuite, and Tres Agréable is a half-sister to Henry Cecil's French St. Leger winner of 2 or 3 years ago called Assez Cuite. Sorry, I beg your pardon, called El Cuite. So he was favourite, as John McCririck told you. He landed a gamble. Let's confirm his SP.
First, number 3, Michelozzo, the 6-4 favourite. Second, number 5, Sapience at 15-1. And third, number 8, Rosiat Turn, returned at 5-2. The take returns win £2.70. Places 120, 210 and 120 again. The dual forecast came to £24.30 and 8 rand.
This is the winning trainer, Henry Cecil. What do you think of this St. Leger being run a day?
You're running every year.
I mean, this time last week, you weren't running. The horse had a bad foot. Tell us what happened.
Well, he pricked his foot. He spread his plate coming up in the box and put 2 nails through it, and then he abscessed. So if it had been last Saturday, he couldn't have run.
He couldn't have run. It's strange the way fate takes a hand in this.
Well, it's just luck, isn't it?
I don't think it's luck. He ran it very, very impressively.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he never looked like he was going that well till you really asked him, did
he? Yeah, yeah.
But it was lovely.
Let's have a look at the replay, because coming towards the 3 furlong marker, Steve produced him with a super run, and
I can only see myself. I can't see
you
the
can only
replay
see
at all.
yourself. Not a bad-looking fella. 4th time you've won the St. Leger. Here he is. Yep, coming on this side. And at this stage, you've got them well and truly beat.
Yeah.
He seems to bounce off the ground. I mean, the ground is quite
and
soft up there.
Yeah, he's rather immature, and he's sort of improving the whole time. And it's in his 4th race in his life, isn't it?
It is.
He's obviously a very nice horse.
How would you rate him amongst your other St. Leger winners?
Well, I don't like sort of rating them, do you? They've all been good friends. You can't really sort of... you don't like doing that, do you?
No.
No, I think you sort of... he's very good today, and they were very good in their day.
Yeah. Now, I've got to ask you, the way he won so well there is a possibility that he might go for the Arc de Triomphe. I mean, the bookmakers around here are saying if this horse goes for the Arc, he could start favourite.
Really?
What is the news?
He could start favourite. I think it'll be rubbish, yeah.
Well...
I don't know. You have to ask Mr. St. George. He's got to pay the supplementary fee. It's quite expensive, isn't it?
It is, £30,000.
Well, that's up to him, really.
Just 170.
That or probably the Jockey Club at Newmarket or something. I don't know.
Exactly.
Ask
Henry,
him. Ask him.
I will indeed. Many, many congratulations. Superb training feat.
Pleasure.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
That's the news in the winner's enclosure. We'll be back with the presentation and more interviews on the St. Leger right after the break.
Perth races this Wednesday and Thursday in the beautiful grounds of Scone Palace Park. Free parking, full catering facilities. First race, 2:15.
Did we get it?
Yeah. And that's not all.
If you're a first-time buyer, call into any Halifax Building Society branch and we'll give you something to make you more comfortable in your new home. 1% off our rate for Easy Start mortgages for the first year.
Early Rococo Chippendale style armchair in mahogany. Could fetch £3,000.
Ding Yao Bo from the Northern Song Dynasty, value £7,000.
A View of East Bergholt by Constable, value £20,000.
People often don't know the value of objects in their homes. Beginning this week in the Mail on Sunday, there's an Antiques Roadshow catalogue. It describes and values items taken to the new series. Who knows what you'll discover?
Antiques Roadshow catalogue, free with You magazine.
Time to stop. Make it McDonald's to go.
A visit to McDonald's makes your day.
I think it's an original.
Indeed. The original sweet pickle. First made in the village of Branston in 1922. Been in the family long?
Since Tuesday.
Ah, nicely turned neck. The cross and Blackwell markings. And inside, all those fruity, tangy, chunky bits. It's unique.
Worth a lot?
Priceless. Bring out the Branston, the original sweet pickle.
Get your figures straight. All margarines, 80% fat. Polyunsaturated margarines, 80% fat. Even sunflower margarines, 80% fat. St. Ivel Gold, 40% fat. Experts agree that we should eat less fat. Gold from St. Ivel.
Welcome back to air. Time now for the presentation of the St. Leger prizes. Let's join Jeff Webster.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Western Meeting Club is honoured to have been asked by the Jockey Club to stage the 213th running of the world's oldest classic, the St. Leger, following unfortunate problems at Doncaster a week ago. This is the first time a classic has been run in Scotland, and we're delighted by the great response Scottish racegoers have shown, turning up in their thousands at here this afternoon for what is an historic occasion. We'd also like to thank the management, officials and staff of Doncaster Racecourse for all their cooperation during this past week. The chairman of Doncaster Racecourse, Councillor Ron Gillis, will now present the St. Leger Trophy to the winning owner of Michelozzo, Mr. Charles St. George. Many congratulations.
Charles St. George on the right, receiving the St. Leger Trophy for the second time. Won it with the Grey Bruni in the 70s. Good to see Ron Gillies, who's travelled all the way from Doncaster. In fact, many of the workers at Doncaster Racecourse are here today, and how sad it was for them that they couldn't hold it at Doncaster, the traditional place. But what a marvellous boost for Scotland.
The chairman of the Western Meeting Club here today, Colonel David Gregg, will now make the presentation to the winning trainer, and that goes to Henry Cecil. Many congratulations.
Henry Cecil comes forward. This brilliant trainer, unassuming young man. David Gregg, the racecourse chairman, on the left, a great supporter, and welcomes everybody when they come here racing.
We'll now round off the presentations by giving the world-famous St. Leger winning jockey's cap to this year's successful rider, Steve Coughlin. Well done, Steve.
Gets the biggest cheer of the whole day, and this is the famous jockey's cap, the historic cap that all the great jockeys, winners of the St. Leger, have worn, and shortly, I would think, Steve is going to have to put it on.
Here are the 50 turns to the 1 pound unit. For the fourth race,
it's a third St. Leger victory with a very, very likeable American who's made his home here in Britain. Now, he's got a ride in the next, so we're just going to try and get a quick word with Steve Coulthard. The scenes around this saddling enclosure at Ayr have never seen anything quite like this. And here comes Steve. Congratulations.
Nothing I get from this guy. Hello.
Live on there.
Yeah.
Do you want to turn around here? There we go.
I'm on the
That's
wrong
it.
way, all right.
I thought the cap fitted you very well indeed.
Yeah, it's a little tight, you know. But good.
Smashing. I mean, the race went according to plan. No problems at all. It looked very easy.
Yeah, you know, he jumped out. The two pacemakers were up there. The jumper of and the pacemaker of Mr. Britain's were going, nice, good, even pace. I was quite happy. He was very lazy, you know. He was nice and relaxed, So I was sort of always hoping that when I picked him up, he was going to find what I thought he would. But I had to I was kidding myself most of the way around. And when I got down the bottom bend, I just sort of picked him up a little bit, and he came on the bridle, and picked up very well.
Here you are coming out the two.
He loves the ground, and he's an improving horse, and he's done it very well today.
Kieran Fallon, who finished second, said he thought he had every chance, but when he saw you press the button, you found the other gear.
Yeah, well, that's what this horse says. He's got a gear, which is what good horses have. He can quicken up, and he loves the ground. As we said, he's improving his form. At Newmarket with Asatis and Carroll House has worked out very, very well. I should think Carroll House will run very well in the Arc. And I think this horse has done it well. He'll be a nice horse next year.
I mean, he's only run 4 times. He's still basically a big baby.
That's right.
How do you rate him?
Well, I rate him as a very nice horse who's improving, who I think will be a very nice horse next year.
And just final question.